Grab a cocktail with us and welcome to the hot mess that is my life as a single makeup artist living in a college town in Florida. This is Kara's Lipstick Diary. All right, you guys, we are back. Have you hit that subscribe button? Now that we're releasing episodes in 2 parts, you don't want to miss out. So hit that subscribe button. It is super important. Make sure you do it. All right, we are back, and this episode's kind of heavy. You've noticed recently with the pandemic, mental health has become a real priority, and we're seeing people that normally you wouldn't expect to be the ones who commit suicide, committing suicide. Back in December, Twitch ended his life. We've seen lots of different people do it, and oftentimes it's not the people, like I say, that you would expect. So I have a guest here. Her name is Kelly. She is a mental health provider, and we're going to discuss sort of what leads to that and why we see things in media and shows how suicide works and who's going to be the one who does it, and then in the reality, it's not always that way. So I'm very honored to have my guest Kelly here to discuss this very important topic. All right, so we are going to make a cocktail, but I'm going to preface this with, if you are in a dark place, please do not be self-medicating with alcohol. It is very important to not do that. But as you know, our show always starts with a cocktail, so we will make one. But like I say, be aware that it can make your depression worse. And if you are fighting with that, please do not self-medicate with alcohol. All right, kind of a deep, heavy topic, I know. So let's get started making this cocktail. Again, don't drink it if you are in a dark place. Promise you, it will not make it better. Okay, so we are gonna start out with 4 ounces of Pinot. This bottle, okay, I don't know if this wine is any good at all, but I really liked the bottle. It's real pretty. It's super pretty. So we're gonna do 4 ounces of that. All right, don't spill it, Kara, don't spill it. There's 2. I need another 2. Of course, Cam came up with like a recipe that has like 20 billion things and trying to make me not spill them on camera. He's not very nice that way sometimes. All right, now we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, which I don't think is actually on my set right now. So, oh no, we do. It's right here. I lied. I think this is it. No, this is lavender simple syrup. I don't know, we're gonna put that in there and see if it's any good. Who knows, it'll make it a new flavor. All right, there we go, some simple syrup. And then we are gonna add a 1/2 ounce of peach schnapps. And then from there, we're gonna add a 1/2 ounce of triple sec. I swear, Cam is really trying to kill me with this recipe. Like, it is ridiculous, y'all. Okay, 1/2 ounce of this. And then we're gonna do 1 ounce of apricot brandy. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. How many more things is he gonna make me put in this glass? All right, and then we're gonna do 3 ounces of club soda. All right, that's 2. And then we're gonna do another one. And we're using Clearly Canadian. I actually haven't seen this in the stores here in America, but they actually have one that's just club soda. I don't think they label it that way, but that's what it tastes like, so that's what we're using. All right, and then we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of elderflower. My God, I swear, like, and this isn't it. Like, there's more coming, you guys. Okay, well that's like the main part. This is all I have to shake up. Good Lord. He really is trying to push me over the edge. Okay. Shaking it up, shaking it up. Oh God, it's spilling. Oh God, it's spilling. See, this is what I'm afraid of. I don't like these shakers. They're just a mess. Okay, and then pour it in the glass. From there, we're going to put in 1/2 a lemon and 1/2 a lime. And I always have to remember to put it in the right way in the squeezer. Y'all, I am like the least domestic person ever. It is a miracle I can do any of this. All right, there we go, 1/2 of a lime. And now we're gonna do 1/2 of a lemon. Oh, this is challenging, you guys. Ugh. And then we're just gonna add some lemon and lime and some grapes to garnish it because this is like a sangria type thing. He said to cut these in half, but like whatever, I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna put some grapes in here. There, I mean, that's pretty, right? Like, okay, throw a lime in, throw a lemon in. God, I hope I don't poison my guest with this one because I'm not sure what I just made. All right, you guys, so this subject, like I said at the opening, is a little bit more on the heavy side. It's a little more intense. I am very honored to have Kelly here with me. She is a mental health provider, and she's in a networking group that I am part of. And so I'm very excited to have her here to talk about the subject because it's kind of important and it's kind of been in the news a lot the past couple of years. And suicide is becoming more and more prevalent. And it's oftentimes with people that we don't expect it to be with. So we wanted to sort of talk about that and all of that. But before, I'm going to need a little sparkle. We're going to need a little sparkle going into this conversation. So, yay, Fancy Sprinkle, I'm going to need you to sponsor me because I'm addicted to your products. I love that you now have them in these individual packs. And these are like the mystery color packs, so we don't know what colors we're getting. So, Kelly, we're going to add these to our drinks. And, like, it's going to be a surprise. And they all kind of look the same until they hit the liquid, which makes it even more exciting. Like, what's it going to do? So I know this is really ridiculous that I'm like making you do this on my show, but like I'm addicted to these things. They're super cool. Ooh, mine is turning turquoise. Oh,
that's mine.
Oh my God, we got the same one. That's so crazy. Oh my God, I love it. Okay. So spin it in there and then it like makes the drink really, really
so
pretty. It's so pretty, you guys. Okay. Okay. While we're talking about a super, super heavy conversation, let's have at least a pretty looking thing to drink. Lots of sparkle.
I love it.
So suicide. This is a heavy, heavy conversation to have.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation is because I have tried to commit suicide in the past, and most people don't know that. And they look at me and they look at someone who is pink and sparkly and bubbly, and they're like, wait, what? Even I have a therapist, you know, and I was just talking to her before doing this episode, and I said, you know, this is one of the subjects we're talking about. And I said, you know, it hits close to home for me because of my past. And she went, wait, hold up. How has this not come up in a therapy session? And I was like, oh shit, we've never talked about this. And she goes, have you processed it? And I was like, I don't think so. So this should be a really interesting episode.
Somewhere.
Let's unload this on an episode and see what happens. Oh God, fantastic. Oh, okay. But the reason it like caught my eye right now is recently over the holidays, Twitch, the dancer committed suicide, and we all, I mean, he lit up the room. Everyone loved him. Everyone was so shocked, and we see that over and over again, where it's Robin Williams, Kate Spade, all these people who were the light, bubbly people who made everyone feel good are the ones who then unexpectedly commit suicide. And you oftentimes hear from loved ones, we had no idea. Yeah. We never saw this coming. And I look at my own story, and to be honest, I'm not sure my parents knew that I tried to kill myself in middle and high school. Like, I don't think they knew. We never talked. It never became a thing. So that's why I wanted to have you here on the show to discuss all of this. When you're dealing with clients, obviously, you know, what are some of the things that people don't expect from people who end up committing suicide or go down that path?
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot to what you just said. Often in processing trauma with a client, we can talk about even sometimes what we call the gift of trauma, where I think having gone through some of the deepest suffering that life has to give us also helps us connect with the deepest joys and the deepest highs, and knowing how important that is. So I think you often see this, you know, dichotomy where the people who just light up the room, there's a flip side to that. Yeah. You know, they know the deepest suffering, or they so deeply know how important love or joy or connection is. And so they are just these huge, generous hearts that just want to bring that into the room. I think beyond that, you know, I was talking to a colleague before coming on here, and we were both thinking of clients who ended up attempting suicide, and both our previous sessions, the clients had said something along the lines of like, man, I'm feeling the best I've ever felt. I'm really the happiest I've ever been. So it, you know, I think for, you know, even for us, but for people, it's really confusing and scary because it can be so hard to see or to know.
Well, and I think that, you know, when you have those ideas in your head of suicide, it's often, I mean, I more recently went through a period where I didn't even realize I was having suicidal thoughts. You know, it was 2019. A lot of people knew me in 2019 and would never have known that every single time I got behind the wheel of my car, I was thinking about, okay, if I hit that building, will the impact be enough to kill me on the spot? I didn't realize that I was having those thoughts until I started getting better. And that's what's even scarier is the fact that I didn't realize I was there when I was. You know, and when I was younger, I actually acted out on some of those things. You know, and no one who knew me would have had any clue. Any clue. Because it was, and I knew for me, I knew the pain, and I knew that I didn't want to burden that on anyone else. Yeah. So that's why I think it's always been, I want everyone else to feel amazing when they're around me. Mm-hmm. And it was that almost overcompensating to make everyone else feel amazing and bring that so that they didn't have to experience the pain that I was feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the, you know, not that there's anything super, super clear, but one of the tells I think can be when you hear someone getting to that point of believing that they're just burdening others, that other people would be better off if I wasn't here. Yeah. That's a really big kind of thing to be listening for.
Well, and I think that that's one of the things, because people always ask who've never gone down that road. I don't understand. Like, don't they realize they're hurting the people they left behind? The problem is that you feel like you are already hurting them by existing. Yeah. And you see that you're actually relieving their pain by going. It's a very different mindset. Yeah. That's hard to always pick up on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you're working with a client who's in that space or a friend, like kind of holding both, like recognizing when we're that deep in the hole, like we're not thinking rationally. No. It's so deep. It's so dark. We're not seeing things clearly. You know, and I think of what you were saying, when you're in it, sometimes it's even hard for you to see, oh, that's my train of thought.
It's all good.
Sorry,
it happens.
I got it. That, you know, often I'll say to clients, like our brains are just these amazing problem solving machines. Yeah. And so when we are in that deep, our brain is simply looking at the cost benefit analysis and it's saying, you know what, the suffering has outweighed the joy. It's outweighed the pleasure. And you know what, I have a solution for that. And those thoughts just start instinctually coming in.
And you start snowballing. Yeah. Absolutely snowballing. I always tell people, because I'm a big fan of therapy. Like it saved my life. Literally, it has saved my life. And so I'm a big proponent of it. And I'm in a great place in life right now, like fantastic place. But I tell everyone, I still have that appointment with my therapist every single month, because when that dark spot hits, that's when it's hard to make the phone call. That's when it's hard to make the appointment. So I keep that standing appointment every month in case I suddenly go into that black hole.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we say, you know, the whole idea of kind of therapy as part of this wellness model that it should be preventative. Yeah. And I say to my clients a lot too, like therapy can be seasonal. Yeah. Like there are some seasons that are really stormy and we might need to come in every single week. And there are going to be some seasons that are going to be calmer. And maybe that's, you know, monthly or as needed or whatever. But having that person with that relationship already established, you know, we also compare it to going to the gym a lot. That, you know, just
well, I mean, and we go to the dentist for our teeth. We go for an annual checkup. Like these are, it's really too bad that we don't think of our brain in the same way that we think about, you know, our teeth. Like it's just as important, if not even more so, because we can have actual physical problems.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of mental health issues. Yeah. But I, you know, when I was talking to my therapist and I was, you know, we were talking about, you know, the difference between, you know, having suicidal thoughts and suicidal ideations. And not really, you know, the public sometimes doesn't know what the difference is. You know, and can you explain a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. This is something that's like near and dear to my heart. Again, I think what you were saying earlier, people are scared to open up about it. Even to your therapist, right? You don't even want to burden your therapist with a degree of pain. And also understandably, people are terrified of getting Baker acted. Yes. And so, which I totally respect. It can
my mother tried to have me Baker acted when I was fine and not when I wasn't. Yeah. So,
it's a terrifying thing to be faced with. And so often when I have a client who I can tell is kind of skirting around the subject, I like to preface with, listen, I am going to have to Baker act you if you tell me you have a very clear plan, you have very clear means, you know, you have the intent that you've got the access and you're walking out of my office and you're going to go do that. Other than that, I want you to know I am not afraid of your suicidal thoughts. I am willing and here to hold space for the suffering that you're feeling right now. And I want you to, you know, have that room and that permission to, again, going back to that idea, your brain's just problem solving. So the intention is that this is a safe space where you can bring those thoughts forward and you can talk about it and feel heard and have someone who is privileged to bear witness for the place of suffering.
You know, it's funny because I always think about therapists and be like, damn, we all have to take on a lot of emotional baggage. But it is a privilege to have the responsibility to be there for that person. Because like I say, when I brought up, I honestly am shocked that I had not brought up the fact that I had actually started acting out steps of suicide twice when I was younger. was really shocking to me that I had not talked to my therapist about that yet. That had not come up, because we have talked about everything. Things that like I didn't even know I needed to talk about. We talked about. But I brought it up because I was like, I don't think my family ever knew.
Yeah.
Like, my parents never talked to me about it. I don't think they ever knew. Now, my school, I'm pretty sure, was aware, because actually I had a classmate who tried to kill herself in high school. Yeah. And for some reason, this was a little weird, they brought all the girls together in the class and then for some reason had me talk to everyone. No pressure, not awkward at all. Looking back, I'm like, what? Why did we do that? That does not seem appropriate. So I know that my school must have been aware of the situation, but I don't think my parents never once mentioned it to me. So I don't think that they knew. And I mean, I was very fortunate because things stopped me each time something happened. Y'all, artsy kid here. I'm not going to do anything like normal. It's going to be dramatic. I had literally drawn out a design on my arm and was going to cut it out. I still actually have a couple little scars from it on my wrist, but I wanted it so that when they washed away the blood, there was a piece of art. Thank God my cat jumped up when I had made one small cut and knocked my hand, and I cut it in the wrong place. And I was like, well, I can't do that now. It messed up the design. But like, there was like a full out plan, and I look back and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. Like, if I had actually acted on that in, I think, 8th grade, look at what all I would have missed out on. Yeah. And that's something that now, because I know obviously my brain goes in that direction, that I have to remind myself every single day, like, look at what I would have missed if I had actually acted out on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, doing the work that I do, I got goosebumps just listening to your story. You hear so many stories of just uncanny things of people just on the verge and the gun malfunctioning or the beam breaking. And it's just,
it get
goosebumps every time.
Twice I had that happen, because the second time I was my 9th grade class trip to DC to the presidential inauguration, which, by the way, I was super pumped and excited to go to. Like, I had been Little Miss, like, I was my little 9th grade self standing on street corners with Clinton signs. So getting to go to his inauguration was like the coolest thing ever. We hadn't even got into the inauguration, and I hit one of my dark spells. And I remember I had 3 roommates in our hotel room, and they were out flirting with boys or something. And I took an entire bottle of Prozac, and I remember putting on dark eyeliner. I remember putting on lipstick. I remember feeling I needed to be like surrounded by something. So somehow I wedged myself. They had like a mini fridge in a cubby, and I wedged myself in there. And then I don't remember what happened from there. I remember the next thing I remember, P.S. hotels, you really should not have windows that open. There was a window that opened, and I was literally leaning all the way out when someone walked in. And if someone hadn't walked in at that moment, again, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. I was fortunate that something stopped me each time. Yeah. But I was lucky as fuck. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be here. Yeah, absolutely. And you hear, again, similar stories of, and I love the way you even say now, which I imagine is some perspective of like the dark spell. So now you've been through that, you have that awareness, you have, maybe different skills or tools or whatever. But I think that's so much the message is like, this is going to pass. Yes. Because all the people who have those just uncanny stories, almost all of them say how just grateful they are for those weird things that intervened. And amazingly, the next day I was at the inauguration and happy as a pea. Like, I was the happiest thing ever. So it was like literally, and it spirals. Yeah. It goes from like 0 to 100 in seconds. And it's a very weird place to be when suddenly you basically lose control of your own thoughts. Yeah. And I don't know if this is the rabbit trail we want to go down, but I think this brings up just the importance of access. Yes. Oh my God. 50% of suicides are firearms. There was a study in the UK during like the 40s and 50s. There was some kind of oven where it was, I think it was carbon monoxide. It was very, very and they all put their head. And all the suicide rates were so high. And as soon as those ovens got updated and moved out, the suicide rates went right back down. And so it's not the fact that someone's just going to commit suicide. Well, how easy is the access going to be? And that's one of those things where it's like, if it was easy, I would be dead. Exactly. You guys, what happened? Why did the episode stop halfway through? because you need to hit that subscribe button so that you catch the second half of it next week when we release it. Hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out. See you in a week.